And we are back. So, last we left off, the unfortunate fellowship managed to claw and scream their way out of the hell tunnel that is the fallen Old One's tunnel of corn. Though not without some measure of casualty, Marius had to put down Seamus, as he has become greatly out of control over the course of this adventure. And there towards the end became rather hostile towards Marius. In the process, Seamus lost use of his body in a sense and is currently was being dragged around by Marius like a puppet. Just flung around, useless, couldn't do anything for himself, lacked all strength, all desire to live from what he was mumbling. You lost Bragadine when you left the tunnel. You just lost track of him. He disappeared. Was not seen. You guys did take a short rest outside of the tunnel, and he still did not give off any indication that he was present. You made your way down the hill, down the mountain, I should say. It's not really a hill, to the woods where you cleaned off in a stream, a very familiar stream to Marius, where you were then fatefully encountered with Mother Ingrid the Sightless and her rather unusual abode and those that live within. She somewhat congratulated you, maybe, and basically informed you that there is much more to do and you should be ready and you should be wary of the foul rat creatures, that there's many things that might not be what they seem. She also took a look through your book that you willingly gave to her. She did not ask. She glanced through your book. She gave it back. You also allowed her to take pieces from Crom's skull that Seamus has been carrying around with him. She took the eyes specifically and a few teeth, the almost serrated shark-like teeth that were in his mouth, and made a paste out of it, which you were informed is some kind of war paint of a sort that you're supposed to dab across your eyes. That's all you know right now. You each have 3 uses. I don't know if you caught that, Bragadine. I think you did. When you come about, when you guys all meet together. Seamus and Marius managed to make it back to Sealburg, and for all intents and purposes, have been taken care of. Marius spent a couple days with the Sisters of Shalia, getting his wounds tended, but Seamus, having several broken bones and just fatigue, has had to spend quite a lot more time there. Seamus, how much time exactly did you need? Was it over a month?
It was 35 days. 35
days, so well over a month. Seamus has been laid up at the Temple of the Holy Sisters, under the care of the matriarch herself, Selena Alexis. Quite some time has passed. So a minimum of that much time has passed. Now, in the meantime, Marius, you've been allowed to leave the temple of your own volition. Seamus is being held captive until he's healed properly. Did you want to go back on your own and check for Bragadine every so often? And if you do, how often are you going to do so?
At least probably a couple times a week, I would assume.
Okay. So once every 2-3 days, something like that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You do that, and up until this point, before Seamus is well enough to leave the temple, the Shalian temple, you haven't found him. There's been no trace. And upon your first return from whence you just came back, the bodies of the rat men were nowhere to be seen, and neither was the blood. almost as if it had been cleaned.
Hmm.
There was no evidence of the foul rat creatures. But you have yet to find bracketing.
Unfortunately, have I encountered any ratmen in my adventures?
You know what? Give me a perception check and we'll see.
Yeah. That's a 53 out of 57.
Every once in a while, you might see something out of the corner of your eye.
Mm-hmm.
But you're a little on edge, as it is every time you come up the mountain at this point. It could just be a coincidence. Nothing concrete. Okay. You definitely never see like a tail or a full figure of someone.
Mm.
But that's it. So at this point, we are going to be doing endeavors for Marius and Seamus. Let's start with your first endeavor, Marius.
I want to try to make some explosives since I've picked up some new skills and such.
Okay, all right.
I would like to try to partner with...
do you remember his name?
Yes. Herbert Sachs.
Mr. Sachs, indeed. Yeah. The crazed engineer who's working in a rather well-stocked workshop. He's definitely a procurer of black powder. He has his... well, not much has changed. Only a day had passed since the last time, so not much has changed since the last time you met him. He is still condescending and rather distant. Doesn't take social cues very well. He's still the same person that you remember as last time. Almost distant thinking of a sorts. He has made some kind of strange contraption, some kind of, it looks like some kind of spyglass of a kind that he keeps on his head, and he kind of uses it for fine-tuning, looking at some of his works. You see that he's been working on, it looks like he has designs on his wall. You know enough about explosives at this point that he's looking at taking the cannons that currently are on the walls of Sealburg and somehow trying to reduce them in size, but yet keep the same amount of potency, and possibly making them more mobile for defensive purposes.
Okay.
But he is there, and you're going to partner with him on this?
Yeah, we try to partner with him.
He's a very strange man, but go ahead and give me a... now, what exactly kind of explosives are you trying to make? Let's do that real quick.
Something portable.
Okay.
Something that I can light easily. I'm assuming, I don't know kind of the technological progress that they are currently at right now.
Oh yes, it's not very
something
good.
To the akin of dynamite or like or some type of hand grenade.
Now, dynamite would be easy, but there's... So, as your consultation with Mr. Sachs, he basically informs you, yes, dynamite would be quite easy, far beneath me. You could do that on your own. But this, and he unrolls a plan, and it is a circular shape, and you recognize the shape. It looks eerily similar to the grenade that Dazawizar tried to delete Seamus with. It's that round kind of cannonball shape, and it has like all these intricate contraptions on the outside of it. This is the future. Those bastards know not what great geniuses. And he's just goes on a little tirade about how he was kicked out of the engineering college and has been banished to Sealburg to work in a backwater mine for the rest of his life. And essentially, you have this this plan of some kind of portable, almost grenade. It's like he says, and this is the genius. When it detonates, it does not just simply fling out black powder. No. The casing becomes shrapnel of a sorts. Can't you see the ingenuity?
That is quite exciting, Mr. Sachs. I would be
Air Sachs
interested.
to you.
Of course, Air Sachs, and I would be happy to assist you in crafting such a device.
He kind of looks you up and down.
Hey, I know I'm a simple man, but let me prove it to you.
What harm could come of it? You, after all, you didn't rat me out about my escaped test subject. By the way, did you ever find the test subject in question?
I believe I heard a large explosion, but I...
Oh dear. Oh
yes,
dear.
Oh dear, indeed.
Okay. Well, let's keep that to ourselves. And yes,
we
I of
shall.
course I will help you. And go ahead and make me a I guess this would be a crafting roll.
Okay. So there's not like I have a trade skill explosive.
Yes, it's going to be trade skill explosives.
Okay. So I just need to roll that.
What else do you have that's related to explosives? You had one other thing, didn't you?
Well, I have crafting explosive, which is a talent.
That's a talent, so that allows you to actually
yeah.
do it. Yeah, so you can make intricate kind of explosives like this. So yes.
I also have Tinkerer now.
Yes, you do. And I'm going to give you a plus 30 on this roll. Because of all of your extra talents, and of course the help of Mr. Sachs.
Sachs, all right, cool. That's a 46 out of 82.
Oof, man, that's good. Is that 3 levels of success?
Close to it, too, technically.
66.
I think.
No, it's 3. It's 3. 46
okay.
out of 82.
Yeah, okay.
46, 56, 60. Yeah, 3 levels. All right. So with 3 levels of success, you manage to make 3 of these grenades.
Nice.
It takes you a while to make them, and you think that with Mr. Sachs' help, he's been the one actually kind of cobbling them together, and he's starting to make more of them. But you have made 3 on your own that are yours to keep. You've also allowed Mr. Sachs to develop grenades, just so you know. So just keep that in mind for anything that might happen in the future.
Okay.
So these will be they have a straight plus 12 damage.
Okay.
They will detonate, and this is where it gets interesting. The firing mechanism is a timed pressure plate on the side of it that Mr. Sachs has engineered in his crazy, masterful ingenuity. It uses cogs, like clock parts, and as you tap in this pressure plate, the cogs begin to tick, and you have a few seconds before the grenade detonates. If you would know after working with him that if something, I don't know, perhaps the grenade gets wet or gets damaged in some way, that the firing mechanism could either detonate instantly or it might not detonate at all. So they should be handled with care. Mm-hmm. They are not exactly just a simple kind of device. Okay. But you have 3 of them. And the radius of the explosion will depend on how many success levels of your throw.
Okay, so
it's going to be
leave that blank.
It's going to be a minimum of 1 meter, so 3 feet minimum.
Okay, I'll put that.
And then it will go up from there. It also, because these are special, and you made them with Mr. Sachs, they also will automatically inflict a bleeding condition, in addition to just taking straight damage. So I'm going to have you write that down, and I'll probably put that in my personal inventory of stuff as well when I get the chance.
Okay.
All right. That is your first endeavor down. How about we move on to Mr. McCready? Your first endeavor as you get out of the hospital. Well,
I would like to go to the cemetery, look for a black rose.
You would like to go to the Garden of Morr.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going there. When you get the chance, after you've recovered, do you immediately go, or do you like wait a day or two and then kind of make your way there?
I guess I'd like. I'll probably wait a day and then go.
Okay, all right. Do you let Marius know, or do you just go?
If Marius happens to pop in during my hospital stay, I'd probably let him know.
Just let him know you were going. Okay. So at some point, Marius, Seamus lets you know. Do you want him to come with you? Is what I'm asking.
Ooh. If Marius wants to come, he can. But if it counts as one of his endeavors, then no.
Okay. Well, we'll just say. Well, you know what? The decision is yours, Marius. It won't count as an endeavor. Do you want to go with Seamus or not?
Yeah, I'd probably like to see it through. Just
okay. All right.
See. I got stuff invested in this too.
You got something invested in this? Damn.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tired of getting stabbed in the.
That's
trying to get attacked all the time.
That's true. So, the two of you travel to the Garden of Morr. It is, of course, what you remember, and for Bragadine, since he's not here, but the player is, it is rather heavily defended. It is made with very stout wrought iron gates, specifically iron. And it has very tall stone walls. The headstones and even a few mausoleums can be seen through the front gates. They are guarded by 2 rather large figures, garbed in heavy black plate armor. It's as dark as midnight, and they each are wielding a large halberd that has almost a silver edge to the halberd. Looks like literally silver. They don't speak as you approach. And in fact, you have never walked by and not seen them standing in this place. As you approach the gates are open because it is during the day, and people are allowed to visit the graves of their loved ones. But this place is kept under lock and key at night and guarded by these defenders, the Knights of Morr. You are free to do as you will.
Well, if they're not going to stop me, I would like to walk right in.
You begin to walk in, Seamus. And as you get close to the gates, you do see that there are these bushes growing around the gates and nearby, along the wall, in fact, and there are these black roses that are sprouting from them. And you remember the portents, the advice you were given by Mother Inga in the past, that something beneficial might come of the black rose. And plus, you have yet to see the grave of your mother. Whether it was out of neglect, because you did not care much for her, or because you've been avoiding the situation. Regardless, you've come to peace with that. You've come too close to death at this point to push it off any longer. And you know that you must see the grave of your mother and, of course, your brother. As you move to pass through the gates, the steel sentries shift their arms and block the way with their halberds. They don't speak.
What? Hi, lads. I believe I have business in here. If you could just let me go by. I mean, you no
And
harm.
they keep it barred.
Don't know if
Not
you heard me the
speaking.
first time. If you don't mind, I'm going to go by now. Thank you. I'll try to, like, duck under the halberds.
As you do, they shift it downwards, blocking your path again.
All right, lads. I've asked you twice nicely. Third time isn't going to be so nice.
All right. And as you say
Seamus.
that, go ahead. Go ahead, Marius.
Seamus, let's not attack the clergy.
I will say these are very. I mean, they're large. They're probably taller than you,
Yeah.
Seamus. These are thick men.
Shit.
They're huge. They're gargantuan, and they don't speak. It's actually kind of unnerving. And as you finish that last statement, Seamus, a shorter man rounds the corner. Shorter, not by much. He's about 6 feet tall. He looks to be probably in his late 30s, deep brown eyes. He's balding. Looks like he has like a kind of salt and pepper, black and gray hair. He's thin. He's wearing a plain black robe with a silver necklace, which has a symbol of a skull with a black rose growing out of its eyes. He also carries it looks like some kind of book on his hip, and he has a small hammer dangling at his side, which has a silver head on the kind of hammering portion, the flat portion. Well, now, I knew you'd come one day. I've sensed you. And he motions towards the two knights, and they unbar the halberds and begin standing in their post once again. And I will say at this point, you have gathered a bit of a crowd behind you, as nobody's ever seen these men move before. And in fact, people have been making jokes about them being statues. And you have just a crowd of people behind you watching this exchange.
Do I recognize this person?
You do not recognize him, but you would probably be able to deduce from the garb that he's probably a priest of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely a priest of Morr.
Would it by chance be Augustus Husk?
No, that is he's a warrior priest of Sigmar.
Oh, okay.
Different god, very very different god.
Is it Priest Horst?
This is not Augustus Huss.
This is not Huss. Horst.
Oh yeah, Horst.
Yes, Horst.
Yes, Horst. It's very German. I'm probably saying it wrong. Doesn't matter. I'm saying Horst. God damn it.
I think it's Horst.
I think it's Horst too.
It's Horst. Yeah.
Oh.
And he'll inform you. No Augustus. He just says Father Horst.
Well, I haven't been here in some time because I've been quite busy doing other things.
I've been told of you. And he just turns around before you finish anything and begins walking into the cemetery.
Well, Marius, I take that as a sign to follow, so let's go.
Sounds good.
You are allowed to pass through the gates, and you pass through, and you see that the grounds are being very well taken care of. There's not many weeds or anything of the sort growing. The mausoleums, the outsides are clean. You're not sure what the insides look like. Probably don't want to know what the insides look like, but regardless, everything seems to be taken care of. And the same kind of black roses are growing out of several graves as you pass by. Not all of them, just some of them. Names you probably wouldn't recognize or know, but you do see them on several of the mausoleums as well. And you follow Father Horst towards the back of the cemetery. These are some of the graves that we transferred as best we could. We did our best for her. And of course for your brother. And he shows you there are two very plain stone, damn it, what are they called? Markers, grave markers. I don't know what's drawing a blank there.
Headstones.
Headstones, there we go. God damn it. Two, very plain, nothing fancy. Doesn't look like there was anybody to pay any money to make them fancy. And you've passed by a few fancy ones. But, and one of them reads Iris McGreedy, and the other one reads James McGreedy. Mm-hmm. And there is a single black rose on each of their graves that is growing.
Is Father Horst still there?
He's still standing there.
I turned to him and... Do you put black roses on all the graves?
I do not. I do nothing of the sort. Morr's gifts are granted to those worthy. They are all part of his garden now.
Has anybody ever tried to take one?
I would not advise you do. And then he kind of looks at you, Seamus. I will give you some time with your thoughts. Come to me before you leave. We have much to speak. And he walks away. And he's walking in the direction that you see. You can't see it from the outside, but on the inside there are a series of small stone buildings. If you didn't know any better, you would think one was a barracks of some kind. Marius, you would recognize that kind of setup from what has been set up at the mine. And then there is a much simpler kind of building next to it that you're assuming is probably some kind of living quarters. And he walks in the direction of the one that looks like living quarters. And you are left with your thoughts.
Probably let some time go by and then make my way towards his direction unless Marius has something he needs to add.
All right.
Marius would probably say, James, I knew your mother for a little bit. We called her a little grandmother. She was a very kind woman. Took care of us stragglers on the outside skirts of the cities, living in tents and squalid conditions. She always tried to make our lives a little easier with some cooking. I can't say it was the best. She had a flavor for the rats, but she was a very kind woman. I'm sorry to see that she is no longer with us.
Well, she's in a better place now with me, brother.
And Marius, I need you to make me a perception test as you are walking back towards the living quarters of the Father Horst.
Okay. That's 26 out of 57.
Okay, very good. How many levels is that, real quick?
3.
Okay. With 3 levels, let me make sure I got this. Yes. Okay. So, as you're walking back, Marius, there's one of the mausoleums you pick out. You notice it because you see a name sprawled across the front of it. And you see a hammer, a golden hammer on the outside. And it appears that this is very well taken care of. And you recognize it as the mark of Sigmar. The twin-tailed comet is behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And in not too small print, but just enough to where you probably couldn't see it very well. And there is some of the roses aren't growing on it, but there is this kind of like moss that is on most of the ground that has been kind of growing across this mausoleum. So it looks old. And granted, it can't be too old because this place isn't that old yet. But you do see the name Father Conrad Lichter. And you could assume this is the grave of Father Lichter.
While Shanks, I guess, is walking forward, I'll probably stop and pay my respects to Father Lichter.
Do you approach the mausoleum?
I do.
Okay. You approach the mausoleum, and with the 3 levels of success, you know there's something a little odd about the mausoleum. It looks like something just doesn't look right about the door. There's a door. And it looks like it's never been disturbed. No one has ever opened it. No one has ever gone inside and paid their respects.
Oh. Is that something you can do? Can you go inside and pay respects?
Certain ones. This one's large enough. It's a large enough structure that you could.
Go on without me, Seamus. I need to offer my respects to Father Lichter.
Okay. Are you just going to continue on, Seamus?
If Marius says so, I will continue on.
Okay. Marius, you approach the grave, the mausoleum, and you find the latch for the door, and it takes. I mean, you're a strong guy, and it takes some of your strength to open this thing. It's a heavy door to begin with because it's supposed to be, but you get the idea. You're further reinforced on the idea that this has not been used. The hinges creak and strain as you pull it open, and there is a what looks like a stone sarcophagus of some kind in the center, and there are places along the wall where more can be slot into place, as in this might be a burial place for people of the church from here on. Mm-hmm. And which is why it's unusual that nobody's been visiting it.
Yeah.
And there's a couple other mausoleums that are there's a somewhat similar size, probably some wealthy people that might own a part of town that want to be buried here. Who knows? Regardless, you see the coffin, I'm going to refer to it as a coffin. You walk inside. Give me an intuition test.
Okay. Let's see what my intuition is. That's a 20 out of 40.
Okay. All right. So you approach and you're already kind of a little on edge about what's going on. It's just strange behavior. You approach the coffin, and you don't know what comes over you, but you can see that it's not quite set properly. It's not straight. Mm-hmm. Something's a little off. So you go to move it, and it takes a good tug, and you shift it, and you accidentally shift it a little too far. And you can see down into the coffin. You glance in there. It's empty.
Harris is thinking to himself, why is it empty? You know, why has no one paid respects to the father of this town? You know, the shepherd of this town is upsetting. Mary's probably a little angry.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to leave it open like this, or are you going to shift it back?
I'll probably shift it back.
Okay.
and then kind of like, close the door back and try to catch up to Seamus, but
Okay.
kind of angrily,
Yes.
upset, like
Oh, yeah.
what's going on. So
Oh yeah. So, as this scene just played out, Seamus, you reach Father Horst's dwelling long before Marius gets there. You approach, and as you approach, the door opens, and Father Horst is standing there. "Come, my brother," and he just walks into the dwelling.
Follow him in.
Okay. Seamus follows him inside. You don't have to duck. It's actually, the door is built of a decent size. The people
nice.
that work in Morr's garden apparently are all very tall. So you walk inside, and Father Horst motions for you to take a seat at a nearby table, and it's very plain in here. There's nothing fancy. It looks like everything is very minimalist and very purposefully decorated. You see the book that was on his hip is laying on a bedside table, and there's a very plain, not too comfortable looking bed. Probably the beds that you sleep in are more comfortable than this one. And there are no windows. Actually, there would be one window. There'd be a window in the door that you went through, and it does have iron bars on the outside of it, which is unusual. You've never been in a place like this. It's very strange. But he motions for you to have a seat at a plain-looking wooden table towards the center of the room.
All right. I shall sit down.
You have a seat. I have sensed you for some time. I know of your loss, MacReady. They call you the headsman. You deliver many to Morr's garden. But that's not what I've sensed from you, is it? And he just kind of leaves it open as a question.
Now, you seem to know why I came here, so what do you think it is?
To pay your respects, at least, but perhaps you are searching for something more can grant. And he says us a few syllable of words that you don't understand. They don't make any sense to you. And as he does, his eyes suddenly go black. I see. You're saturated with it. But you yet still live. You are not worthy of smiting currently. You are not an abomination. There's still hope. What has cursed you so, my brother?
A little something I picked up on one of my adventures.
Are you going to show it to him?
Yes, I will
Okay.
pull it out.
In the sheath, or are you going to unsheath it?
I would probably unsheath it because I imagine the sheath is like strapped to my back right now.
Yes. Yes.
So it's probably easier to just unsheath it.
So you unsheath it, the blackened blade with kind of the purple hamon and all of that. It's a beautiful sword. Still is. No chinks in it. Despite the damage it took with Crom, it looks like every little piece that may have been nicked out of the blade has been reset. Very unusual for metal. And as he looks at it, I see. You carry a dangerous artifact, son. Must you carry this burden further?
It's helped me out a couple of times, but I feel like the more I use it, it's farther down this path I don't want to go.
I am no sorcerer, no wizard. They have a school in Altdorf, but us of Morr's chosen can sense death. And that blade is death. We may yet be able to help you, but I can only help you if you wish it. You do not fall under the purview of Morr's teachings as of yet. We are to slay, to keep dead the things that belonged that way, to keep the natural order. You yet still live, though only by a thread. I could give you something to help, but know this, that it will only lessen the effects. It will not limit them completely as long as you wield that sword. You carry a heavy burden. And he will...
It's a good thing I got these broad shoulders.
Oh God! You didn't say that. Damn it! He said it. He already said it. He doesn't acknowledge it. That's the thing. He doesn't. He seems rather devoid of a lot of emotion, which you might recognize, Seamus, as one that has been steeped in death before yourself. He's probably experienced something similar to what you have, and he stands up from the table, moves to a back chamber. He opens a door. And he comes back out with a bundle, a cloth. There's something inside it, obviously. He's carrying it with two hands. This is usually reserved for one of the knights, but I fear you may need it more than them. And I've been given a vision from Morr himself. That's how I knew of your coming. Do you believe in the gods, Seamus? Do you believe in Morr and his garden?
I can believe in him, but I don't worship him.
Well, I suggest you do so soon. And as he says that, he unbundles the cloth, and you see a steel plate helmet. It is been molded into the shape of a skull. It has decorations of, it looks like roses that have been painted black around the eyes. And the lower jaw is open, leaving it open. So it's kind of like a half helm. So you can still speak while wearing it. And he hands it to you. I hope it will serve you well. It should, with Morr's blessing, keep many of the ill effects of drawing in so much death at bay.
Thank you for this gift. I said I'd make you proud. Do what I can.
It's not me you should be making proud. It is Morr himself.
Well, you can tell Morr. That I'd consider the offer of possibly worshiping him sometime.
God damn it. This priest just looks at you stone-faced. Just
I can't worship
unmoving.
my ancestors.
He's just unmoving, just looking at you. And that's it. I'm assuming you awkwardly get up at some point because he's not going to speak to you.
Yep. After I say that, I'll get up, shrug the shoulders.
Okay. And as you leave the abode of of the Morr priest that you just insulted his god, you walk out the door and you see Marius. You see Marius walking towards you, just in a huff. He looks pissed off. And I will let it play out as it was. I'm assuming you're going to inform him of everything that happens. We're just going to say that happens.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm going to cut away from you guys, finally. And we're going to go back to Mr. Bonneau.
Oh, yes.
Bragadine. You are in the dark, and you hear the chittering, yes, yes, man, flesh. And now you're starting to hear many, many footsteps, pitter-patter, 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 coming towards you. What would you like to do?
Call out and like, who is there? Can you help me?
Yes, yes, we help you much. And as that is said, you hear a shing, shing of many blades being drawn. Man, flesh, best.
I cry out, oh shit, in Breton.
And as you do, you hear, you actually see a flicker of light in the distance. And as you do, you hear the creature, and they turn around to face it. And as they do, now the creatures are illuminated as there's torchlight moving in your direction. And as this happens, Bragadine, you see several crossbow bolts materialize in the bodies of these rat creatures. I mean, many. They're just peppered with them. And 2 or 3 of them fall dead. There were about 10 of them about to swarm you. The remaining 7 begin retreating quickly away from you. They're scattering up into the hole in the ceiling. You're covered in this blackened blood, in addition to the gory mess that you have been soaked in before you left the tunnel. And a few figures approach you. And you're going in and out of consciousness at this point. You're just kind of, eyes are fluttering. As they approach, all you can tell is that they look humanoid. And then you lose consciousness.
Don't hurt me.
Don't hurt me. You whisper as you go unconscious. You lose consciousness, Bragadine. Sometime later, you're not sure how much time has passed, but your eyes open again. Ah, he wakes. You hear a old, rather disturbing voice of some kind. And as you come to, Bragadine, you look around and you're in like a damn witch's hovel out of a fairy tale, a Bretonian fairy tale. You're glancing around, there's just shit all over the place. It looks filthy. It looks dark, damp, and there is a strange old woman with blind eyes looking at you from across the hovel.
You, peasant, what has happened? Why am I here?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
Yeah. I love it. It's great.
She gives you a smile, and you can see that there's not many teeth in her mouth. You would be used to speaking to many that way, would you not? And as she does, you see just a little crackle of electricity around her sightless eyes. You are destined for many great things. None of least are your wit. Continue.
What things am I? What things are you saying? I know I'm a great man already. What other great things do you say I'm destined for?
Well, fate has many things in store for you, many tragic, yet great things. Many lives will hang in the balance of your decisions. Man of two worlds. You may have to make a choice. You will have to sever ties. You must choose wisely. You must choose just.
You mean like the vows of a knight?
At this point, she just you see her turn. And as she does, the door to the hovel swings open on its own. A waft of air brushes through, and the candlelight that was lighting this hovel immediately goes out, and it becomes dark. What are you doing, Bragadine?
Who are you, madame? How do you know of me? How did I get here? Please.
There's no
enlighten
answer.
me.
There's no answer coming. There's nothing. And you can't really see into the darkness where she disappeared.
Do I hear anything?
You can make me a perception check.
Okay. By the way, what condition am I? Am I still on death's door?
Okay, so you are fully healed and you've recovered from all of your wounds. Not only that, your shirt has been torn open, and it looks like some kind of paste has been shoved into your gut, where a hole has healed over. There's still remnants of the paste around it, and the disease that was coursing through your bloodstream has been cured.
My arms. I do not feel the pain anymore. My legs. My strength. I feel good. I rolled a 19 out of 50 if we're not using my acute hearing.
Okay. We can use the hearing.
Perfect,
You hear
'cause
the
it's dark.
creaking of wood from outside, from the wind shifting the hovel. You don't hear anything else. Eerily quiet.
I attempt to get up. Am I standing or am I? I thought I was.
You were laying on kind of like a table. You sit
Okay.
up and then you stand and you have your feet about you. It feels like you haven't used them in a long time.
A little clumsy.
You're a little off for a few moments, but you're quickly getting back to it, as if you have been resting for quite some time.
Ah. Was it just a dream? Is there any light at all?
There's light spilling in from the open door of the hovel.
All right. I would like to head towards that open door.
Okay, you move through the open door, and you see a similar sight that I described to Marius and Seamus before.
Mm-hmm.
The open grounds. There's kind of a large, almost circular. What would you call that? Open
Courtyard?
space. All right, yeah, kind of, but not really. Around the entire hovel, it goes in a complete circle around it, where the trees just stop growing at some point, and there's nothing but grass and kind of damp moss and things of that sort. And there are 3 large mounds around the hovel itself, about 10 feet tall. There's all kinds of strange contraptions and things along the outside, bizarre fetishes and runes and all kinds of things. As you step down and begin walking, you can see that there's a arch. Looks like where 2 trees have kind of grown together to make almost like a doorway. And you have enough sense about you to think that's the way out. As you stumble through them, you glance back over your shoulder, and the archway's gone. And so is the hovel. And there's just woods behind you.
What foul sorcery is this?
What
There's a
fell
path in
sorcery
front of me,
indeed.
though, right?
There is a road nearby. You hear horse feet on cobbles.
Do I have my possessions or any of my possessions left? Like my sword, my shield, my bag.
Okay, so what you do have on you is your bag.
Okay.
You go to open it. There's nothing inside. Sword and shield, gone.
Can't
But you're
imagine an
alive.
unconscious man would hold on to them. Oh. I get down. I'm wary, but I get down and I get down on one knee and I lower my head and I say a long, slow, sincere prayer of gratitude to the lady.
Oh, okay. You sit down. You as you're praying. I'm assuming you're praying internally.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You hear the cobble.
Maybe a slight mumble. No one would be able to understand what I was saying.
Yeah. You hear the horse feet get farther and farther away till you can't hear them, till you're done with your prayer. Stand up and begin heading in the direction of the what you believe to be a road. You find it.
Yes.
This is where things get weird.
Okay.
Bragadine, do you have outdoor survival, Bragadine?
That is a negative.
Okay. Go ahead and make me an intuition test.
Okay. Awesome. It is a 33 under. Oh, wait a second. Intuition. It is a 33 under 50. So a critical success. Yeah.
Critical success. Good. All right, good. So you stumble out on the road and you've taken this road before. You recognize it completely, despite not being one to normally pay attention to these things. And you do, in fact, find the way back to Sealburg, and you don't wander out into the wilderness for another month or two. And you begin walking, and
Nice.
your clothes are soaked in blood. They're of course dry at this point, but they haven't been cleaned. You don't smell good. You look tattered and beaten, but you feel stronger. You approach the gates, and it is the morning when you make it to the gates. Probably getting close to like midday. And as you're getting to the gates, Marius is coming out of the gates to make one of his weekly trips up the mountain.
Do I see him?
You see him.
Marius! Friend! Quick, come quick, help me. Friend, thank you.
Marius, you see Beno calling out to you, and he's in the same shape that you saw him before, but obviously healed. And 4 months have passed since you and Seamus have been in Sealburg
Wow.
without Beno.
Oh, no, gee. Marius would like to kind of notices that it's Bragadine. Keeps his kind of expression kind of calm, and then he cracks a big smile, starts running towards him, and then he's gonna punch him right in his gut.
It's completely unexpected. Do you accept the hit, Bragadine?
Sorry, I had a intruder in my gaming room here.
Oh no!
Marius!
Damn it!
What was that for?
You stabbed
Marius.
me, you fuck! And and
I accept
come
it.
along. I said, come along. And I kind of dust him off. We'll try to convince the gods you're not a crazy person. And
it takes a little
I'm not
convincing.
the one
but-
hitting innocent people.
oh, innocent are you? And I kind of raise my hand like about to slap him.
Oh, no.
Don't make me hit you one more time.
Oh, God.
And,
You are
Watch
brought
how you
inside
raise your
the
hand
walls.
to a noble, peasant.
Oh no!
I will raise it down upon a noble as well.
Oh god!
Try me here, Bretonian.
What is wrong with you? Let's get to the city. I have to get cleaned up. I look disgusting. I look like
Yes, you do. And come on. I'll take you to the Thaggy. And I take him to the Thaggy
Okay.
to get cleaned up.
All right. It is important to note that before any of this happened, on your first return to the Thaggy, Marius, you would have had a very interesting conversation with Thordum.
Okay. I would assume so.
Due to the nature of the markings on your body.
Are they still there?
They're still there.
Oh,
They're
wow.
faint,
Okay.
but they're still there.
Okay.
And the weapon that you have strapped to your back, for the sake of brevity, we'll just kind of hit the high notes here, because I do want to get all of your guys' endeavors out of the way in this session if we can. Essentially, he was, of course, very distraught to find out that you ventured to Carrick Zorn and that all of his ancestors, as he knows them, are dead. And in fact, he would have informed you that those were his ancestors, that they have been dead for quite some time, at least according to his family. And he then would have informed you that his family were the first settlers of Sealburg, and he is the last of his line. And all of the other dwarves of Carrick Zorn are dead, except for Zordoom Amberbelly.
Oh, man.
He's the last, and that is why he will not leave. And he will show you down into the cellar where he keeps the beer, and it's not really the food, but mostly the high quality beer and everything else that he keeps downstairs.
The cellar.
In the cellar there is a shrine set up, and you see symbols for Carrick Zorn, and there is a shrine to his ancestors, and he will tell you that he has been sworn to protect it. He took an oath, and that is why he can never leave the Thaggy.
Okay.
He's the last, and he will die the last protecting it. So, and essentially he tells you that the weapon you carry should be hidden. It is not something that was forged by natural means by the Dawi. There's something angry about the way it was crafted. The dwarves were desperate at some point. And he will tell you that it brings out one's inner potential, but not in a good way. And he points to the markings on your body. These are the marks of Grimnir, Marius. Grimnir. And that probably wouldn't mean too much to you, but you could kind of understand it's one of the dwarven ancestor gods. And though you have never seen a Slayer before, Marius hasn't, the player has. And you are beginning to have the Slayer tattoos inscribed upon your body.
Oh, gee.
So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
So, yes.
I'd also probably inform him of my oath to kill Morr as Coalmouth.
Oh, yes, and he would be very upset about that. And we will have later discussions about that. So that will all have happened by the time you make it back to the... Yeah, go ahead.
I'll be carrying around my pick kind of like wrapped up in like cloth, you know?
Yeah. Try. And I will say it is just a very valuable item to begin with. And you're a peasant. So... Yeah. Seamus gets away with stuff because he's scary. Marius not so much, yes.
Marius is attractive and charming.
He's attractive and charming. And he has a lot of riches on him, apparently, strapped to his back. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep it kind of wrapped in a wrap, you know, to make sure no one asks any questions.
Bragadine, you're taken to this little bar. I do kind of want to roleplay this because it's going to be awesome. Bragadine, Marius brings you to the Silver Thaggy. It does not have the Silver Thaggy written on it anywhere. There is just a plaque dangling above the doorway to this bar. It looks like a bar. It is probably more like a hostel to us. It also has room and board there. And, well, I guess you could call it an inn. The placard outside basically shows a rat, a silver rat, the head of one, and there's like the symbol for beer, like cups. It looks like filled cups behind it, and you would get the idea that this is the Silver Thaggy from the looks of it. And Marius pulls open the large, heavy, like oak wooden doors, and you are greeted to the smells of stale beer and hot food, and a bellowing voice. "Ah, Marius, my boy, you've returned!"
"Ah, I have, Thordum, I have, and I brought a guest. This
A
is
guest?
Bragadine Bano.
Any friend of Marius is a friend of mine.
Ah, Master Dwarf, what a pleasure it is to meet you.
And as you step in, Bragadine, you see a man, well, a dwarf, standing behind the bar. And he is standing behind the bar. You could probably guess he's standing on top of something. But he is, he's not exactly tall. But he has some scarring across his face. He also has a very immaculately trimmed beard. He has a large belly. He is blue eyes, and he has kind of golden hair. And there are kind of like rivets and things in his beard where he's taking care of it. And his beard does dangle down almost to his knees at this point. It's very long. He keeps it almost like tucked into his belt. He has a bad limp as he steps down from the stool and begins heading around the bar to give Marius a very hearty Beastmaster welcome. Claps arms with you, Marius. Nice firm grip. And then he looks to Bano and motions to do the same. Reaches his hand out. Bragadine.
I reach my arm out and kind of imitate what Marius did.
Yes. It's
Nice to meet
awkward.
you, good sir.
And he, as he
Bragadine
grasps... Yeah, as he grasps your
Marius-
forearm,
Marius
he
smiles.
squeezes the shit out of you. I need you to make a strength check, Bragadine.
Oh. Just straight strength check.
Straight check, yes.
All right. Oh, 70.
Yes.
Over 40.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. He squeezes, and it hurts like hell. You probably let out a bit of a whimper, like, as he squeezes, and you're like, ah!
I yank my hand back.
He doesn't let you go. He's still holding on. You're just, ah! And he just,
Dwarf.
he's having a good hearty laugh, and then he eventually lets go. Your arm is like bruised where he was holding onto your forearm.
Clutching it and just rubbing it.
Well, I can't say you're not the softest man I've met, but close. And he begins walking back behind the counter.
Do you mind if I get a bath started for our friend here? He
A bath!
smells quite pungent.
And he claps his hands together. And you see a rather buxom woman come out of the kitchen. It is not Sarah,
smile.
Marius. She looks to be probably 300 pounds.
What? Is it Helga?
It is not Helga. But it is apparently Thordoom has a type when he hires women for serving, as Helga is no longer his employee, but her sister Olga is here.
Ooh.
And she's slightly older than Helga, but she's got the two braids, very voluptuous, in all the wrong ways. And she she storms up to Bragadine, and she's just a few inches shorter than you, Bragadine. Are you to be having a bath, sir?
Oh yes,
And
madame.
she gives you like a wink, like she's trying to be sexy, but it's not coming off like that.
Please, madame. Could you show me the way to the rooms? Or
And
maybe-
she just grabs a hold of you by the belt and begins walking you upstairs.
I look over my shoulder at Marius with a terrified look.
Marius just waves and says, "Welcome back."
Welcome back, and that's gonna play out as it would. So that is the end of that. So then we will fast forward through all the good parts, unfortunately. And Bragadine, you can give me your first endeavor while you're in Sealburg.
All right. Okay, this actually has to do with my trappings related to my career.
Okay.
I want to establish a studio.
Okay, you
So I
would
can
like to
work.
establish a studio. Okay.
Okay.
Your contact originally in Sealburg was the mayor.
It's the I thought it was the governor, Archibald.
Yeah, it's Governor Archibald. Do you remember his full name?
Freeze.
Archibald Freeze, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
He was your contact, and I will say for your first endeavor, you easily make contact with him again, and he looks relieved that you're here. He's like, good sir, you were quite late. What kept you? You're several months behind schedule.
What do you mean several months? I will tell you all about my adventures and what has happened, but I don't understand when you several months. It was several weeks, but I don't know what you mean.
Regardless, Krieger, and he calls out, "Yes? Show Mr. Bonneau his quarters." Right this way. And a smaller man, much smaller than the governor. The governor has like these he's very tall and thin. He's got bags under his eyes. He looks stressed beyond belief. And then Krieger is a much smaller, very tart-looking man who has disdain in his voice for, it appears, everyone except for the governor himself. And he leads you to a small house around the corner. So you're near the town square, and you're actually near the Silver Thaggy. It's older, but it looks like it's been cleaned out. There is a layer of dust because it was supposed to have been inhabited several months ago, but there is some decent furniture in here, nothing that you'd be used to, and plenty of space to set up a studio.
Perfect. This will do for now. You were dismissed.
Of course, and he will slam the door as hard as he can as he huffs his way back to the governor's mansion. I will say the governor's mansion was quite nice, though not quite as nice as your castle. I mean, could anything in this little shithole of a town be? Probably not.
I must speak to the governor. His servant does not know how to talk to a noble.
Indeed, he does not. And we will now shift over to Seamus's next endeavor.
I would like to learn how to read and write.
Yes! Who are you going to learn from? Now, I will say, there is a teacher in town. There is an actual school teacher. Marius knows of him because his daughter goes to school and has been taught by him. There's also, of course, several people that know how to read and write. Marius does, though. How well does Marius really know how to read and write? Who knows? Also, Father Horst very much knows how to read and write. And you can assume many of the other religious figures in this town know how to read and write because they need to be able to learn to know how to read their religious texts.
I imagine going to the school, I'll be like Billy Madison, so...
Oh, no. Are you going to the school?
No,
I'm picturing that. That's awesome.
That would terrify the children.
I really want it to happen. Him in the skull mask, just like walking into school.
I know. It's going to be, they would be horrified.
Yeah, I guess I'd probably just go to, I'll worship my ancestors. Marius probably can barely know how to read, so that's going to be a hard check to do.
Mm-hmm. So who are you going to go to?
Oh, man. You know what? We'll give it a shot with Marius.
With Marius?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's going to be a straight roll. So, with no bonuses. Marius is like, "Oh yeah, this is the word." So go ahead and roll. It's just going to be you did this once before, right? Last time you attempted to read and failed.
I tried and I failed. So I moved on.
Yeah. So this time it's going to be at a I believe it was at -20 last time. So this is going to be just at a -10 this time.
All right.
Intelligence test.
Intelligence. Okay. And I'm a smart guy too. That upsets me. All right. -10. That is going to be a 14 out of 31.
So, as much as Marius can teach you, he teaches you enough, and you barely know how to read and write, just as well as Marius at this point. So you are successful.
Montage,
Montage of you two studying together. Sometimes Sarah comes in and just rolls her eyes. Like, what are you guys doing up here? Yeah. Marius tries to show you his demon book at one point, and you decide it's not a good idea.
Look at it.
So, yeah. So that happens. Good. Yes. Marius, your next endeavor.
I think Marius would like to try to investigate all these. Well, I was going to do that. Now I want to understand what's going on with Father Lichter, so probably investigate Father Lichter.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a gossip roll.
Let me see if I have gossip. Yeah, I do. All right. Ooh, that's close. 21 out of 35.
Okay, so that's 1 level success.
Yeah.
All right, let me make sure what I can give you with 1 level of success. Okay. All right. So here's what you kind of found out just talking to people about Father Lichter. Do you mention that his grave was empty? Or are you just kind of trying to figure out what's been going on?
Just kind of figure out how he died exactly.
Okay.
And
yes.
Who was around, like when he was buried and stuff like that.
All right. So here's what you find out. You're not revealing that you know that there's no corpse in there. So
yeah, not yet. No.
All right. You hear things around the Thaggy, and a few men in the mine. Shortly after you guys were presumed missing, a long time ago, it'd be almost over 9 years at this point. Augustus Huss, the current priest of the Church of Sigmar, was sent to help with the structure and somewhat reinforce Sealburg, because at that time the walls were not completely built yet. The stone walls, that is. you would know that he lived in the church with Augustus. They all lived together, and some of his fanatics as well. And over the course of about a year or two, suddenly people started seeing less and less of Father Lichter. And then one day, Huss just came out and told everyone that Lichter had passed and that he was being interred in the newly consecrated Garden of Morr. There was a ceremony held. There was a coffin, an open coffin, where everyone could see him. And he was interred in the mausoleum. The doors were shut. And that's what you find out.
Okay. I would probably try to go to Father Horst and ask him what's going on, because it would be super rare for like a follower of Morr to lose a body, you know?
It would indeed. And we'll get to that shortly. That might be your next endeavor.
Okay.
If you want to pursue that. So
Okay,
let's move
that's
on to Bragadine. What is your second endeavor?
Yes. I, with the establishment of my studio, I want to generate some income by writing a book about my adventures.
Yes. Yes. Give me that art check, man.
All right. Okay. Art. Writing. And what characteristic do I use?
That's Dex.
Okay, for just art, or what about art writing? That wouldn't be that.
I
Dex
believe
again.
It's so. How many? Excuse me. What's it called? How many advances do you have in it?
10.
Okay.
I'd rather use Dex. It's one of my higher things.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
The art is Dex, so it's Dex
Okay.
plus 10 for your art. Yeah.
All right. 17 out of 641. 51. 17 out of 51.
Okay. And what, pray tell, does Bragadine write about?
Oh, he writes about how he was apprehended off the street by the savage rat men. Although he put up such a fantastic fight, and he he crushed so many, but then he saw a pair of adventurers in these tunnels that were on the verge of defeat. But Bragadine ran up, and he snuck up behind these rat men, challenged them like any Bretonian would. Not stab them in the back. No Bretonian would stab a man in the back.
My back starts to ache. No, just...
Yeah, as he's writing. There's like a flash over of Marius, like,
are exploring through the dwarven mines and the many demons I crushed. The consoling I did to Marius when he was devastated.
Yes.
About the dwarf.
Do you use their names? Do you actually use their names?
Oh,
or do you use? Oh, you do. You do use Marius. Okay, all right.
No way. I'm
fantastic.
I'm listening.
This is fantastic. So you do use Marius and Seamus.
Oh yes.
Oh god.
Oh, this is so good.
This is something I said I was going to do when I got back here.
Okay.
I make sure to talk about how.
I need to know, do you detail your encounter with the with the dwarf and the down that you unlocked from the cage? Do you detail that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you detail Marius looking at the creepy book?
I mention it.
It's mentioned. Okay. All right.
Damn it.
Do you detail what you found in the mine itself, in the graves that were smashed open? Because you got a good look at all of it. The skull, the stone.
I don't.
The pages.
Yes, with much fabrication though.
Yes, this is fucking awesome.
It, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. I love so much of this. This is so good. Thank you.
Detail
Thank
how
you.
Seamus was so happy to cook my meals for me.
Exactly. Oh my God. Yes, of course.
That's.
Okay. So this takes
So
you.
I
I'm
comfort
going to
him
say.
in fear.
Yeah. I'm going to say this takes you. It probably takes you a couple months to get everything in a good enough state where you feel comfortable. Essentially publishing this, self-publishing in a way. You are being sent a stipend of money that Krieger delivers to you every once in a while. He just kind of like throws it at your door. You get to go outside and collect it real quick from your family that has been keeping you going. But after this work, your piece de la resistance is completed. This is also important. Where do you want this to be published? Do you want this to be published in Bretonia, or are you going to start distributing here in the Empire?
I am actually a smarter businessman than you would think, and I need peasants, rightfully so, cannot read in Bretonia.
Of course.
Peasants who read, they revolt. So we do not allow that. That's a capital crime. No, and I'm smart enough to know that I need customers. So I publish it in Sealburg and will send a copy to my family, hoping my father will read it.
Yes. Oh, yes. So you do that. And I will say there's no publishing house here. There's no kind of framework here in Sealburg. So you're either going to have to try to do it all yourself, or you can send your draft through contacts you've made in the capital in Nuln and have it published through there and then disseminated throughout the Empire if you like. That's up to you.
So I can, when you see publish myself, like handwrite each copy.
Like you're going, yes. Like there is
the printing press has been invented in the Empire, correct?
Yeah, not quite. Now there's more technology.
So at Gutenberg level, okay.
Yeah, there's more technology in Nuln, a lot more than you're out in the sticks. You're on the fringe of the Empire.
All right, I'm going to reach out to Governor Archibald Fries and see if he can help me secure that connection.
Okay. Yeah, and I will say with as much of a success as you had, easily done. And you get the idea that within the next few months to, a decent amount of time, you might be making a considerable amount of wealth from this publishing of a. I'm assuming you're marketing this as a elaborate tale of heroism.
Exactly. A tale of great adventure.
Now, are you writing this in the form of a play, or is this more of a?
This is first person.
Okay, all right. Okay, got it. So this is more of just a tale, a telling of a recounting of events. Got it. Awesome. Fantastic. I love it. You may be raking in some money from that. Not right now, but someday. That moves us on to Seamus, your third endeavor.
All right. Now that I can read, I'd like to imagine that maybe I see some bounty posters around town for 1, possibly 3 fingers, and I'd like to cross paths with a bounty hunter.
Okay. So, all right. You're getting kind of interested in that kind of line of work, and you do have connections with the road wardens. That's where do you still stay there, or do you stay in the Thaggy now?
I imagine I still stay there since it's my house.
Yeah, it is. It's still technically your house. So you have Velkin's Blackhearts are the road wardens that are still stationed on the outskirts of the town, and the remnants of your old town that's been made into this road warden compound. And they have people pass through every once in a while, and you kind of go about doing the work of just a regular road warden. But you've been thirsting for more. Fighting the odd bandit every now and then does a little to satiate your bloodlust, and of course you do come across beastmen and odd greenskin here and there. But you do cross paths with a unlikely individual, and unlikely in that you cross paths with a dead man, who has several bolts in his chest, and he's dead on the side of the road. You and your 2 minions, do you remember their names?
Bertram and Giggles.
Bertrand and Giggles, they're with you. Oi, boss, Governor, that there man looks, relieved of his faculties. That's one of them words you've been teaching me. And Giggles is, he's dead. And they're pointing over at the dead guy that looks like he's been stripped of most of his belongings. Just on the side of the road.
Well, now, lads, we can't let people just getting murdered on the side of our road here. Bertram, go down there and see if he has anything left on him.
Right, boss, right. Yeah, of course. And he kind of hops down, goes and he starts kind of looking him over. Oi! You might want to look at this. And he brings you a packet. Well, not really a packet. It is about 4 to 5 pieces, like a bundle of wanted posters as you open them up. They've got blood on them, the blood of this man. He obviously was a bounty hunter of some kind who's now been relieved of his duties. One of the bounties in the pile is for 3 fingers. The 4 other bounties are people you've never heard of as of yet. And there's a very sizable sum set on 3 Fingers' head at the behest of Governor Archibald Freeze.
Does that have a picture of 3 Fingers?
There is no picture. All there is a kind of a rough sketch of an outline. And it says 2 gold coins.
Yes.
For the head of 3 Fingers. But there's the descriptions is wild and crazy, and there's no actual picture that's been sketched out.
Mm-hmm. And the other ones are just kind of assorted bandits.
They're assorted bandits, and probably a few brigands, and maybe the odd lawman turned bad. Who knows? We'll see later. But as of right now, they're not that important. You do find one for 3 Fingers.
Yes. Now, I'll turn to Bertram. Good work, lad. What do you say? We go into a little side business here, and I'll split the payment with you if we capture this man.
Side business, boss? And he looks very excited.
And we'll keep this on the hush.
Yeah, side business, side. On a hush, yeah. Steel trap. He's not a steel trap. Neither of them are. But they say it anyway.
All right, lads. Let's carry on our business.
Okay. And you now have a bounty and maybe starting on a new profession at some point. Marius, are you...
Side note.
Yes.
Am I riding my horse?
You are riding your horse.
Ooh,
Rachel is still alive and well.
Yes.
She was taken care of and fed. So yes, you still have Rachel.
Cool.
Marius, are you still planning on talking to Augustus? Huss?
Yes.
Okay. Well, in that case, we're going to skip you for now.
It's Horst.
Oh, you're talking to Father Horst. Okay, that's right.
Father Horst was it? Yeah.
We'll skip you for now. And we're going to move to the last endeavor for Mr. Bragadine.
As I'm writing my book in my studio, I know deep inside if it was not for Marius and Seamus, I would be dead many times. And I would like to see if I can find someone to help increase my fighting prowess.
Okay. What exactly are you looking for?
Maybe find a local duelist or somebody like that to help me improve my weapon skills. Maybe train me a little bit in the arts of combat.
Okay. What specific skill are you looking for? That's what I need to know.
Okay. One, it might be wise for me to learn heal.
Okay, that's going to be something completely different. That's up to
Okay,
you.
cool. But mainly I want to learn to, like a combat skill. Like, instead of just being able to use melee basic, better type of melee. Maybe with a sword or a rapier or something like that.
Okay. All right. That is okay. All right. That can be done for a price, but you can afford the price. Do you have a weapon of choice?
A sword.
Okay. Like a long sword?
Would Bragadine be able to wield a longsword properly?
Let's put it like this.
Man.
Let's put it like this. Technically, a regular longsword falls under melee basic. Now, if you want to wield like a bastard sword, that's something different.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. You could learn how to wield your shield properly to get all the benefits out of it.
There we go. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. There's plenty of other weapons you could learn how to use as well. For instance, you could attempt, well, probably not here, but at some point you might be able to find somebody to teach you how to use a lance properly. You've had some training,
Yes, but Father and Gerard both would like me to do that.
Yeah, so you keep that in mind. It's, if you
I need to
learn
to ride. Quick change. Ride a horse. I want to learn how to ride a horse.
Yes, that's right, because you don't actually know how. So I will say, basically what this is you just didn't practice enough. Mm-hmm. You know how to ride, you're just not very well practiced. So it's easy enough to find some people that know how to ride. For instance, you know somebody that rides a horse very well and is accompanied by a lot of people that ride horses. One Seamus McCready. So Seamus, basically, as a favor, one day just sends you out in a field with Bertrand and Giggles to teach you how to ride a horse.
Not for free though.
Not for free, of course. He charged you a hefty sum, which you paid. And Bertrand's basically like, you see, now what you do here is you put your foot in that, and you fling your other one over the saddle, and you take the reins, and you do like a, yeah! And that's how it's done. So go ahead and give me a ride check, Bragadine. I'm not going to give you a negative because you're a Bretonian and you have practiced at some point.
So we're just doing like
just a straight check.
Advances? Okay,
you don't
agility
get,
check basically.
You're just going to get a straight check to learn it because it's not technically one of your skill choices.
All right, I got 20.
Out of?
If it's agility, which it says right here, out of 33.
Okay, so you successfully get a single point in ride.
All right.
Now, since it's not part of your skill set right now, it will cost double the XP to gain advances in.
All right. Okay.
But since you have a single point in it, you won't have to make a test and just ride a horse anytime you want. You will, from here on, just be able to just hop on a horse and you can ride it. You won't have to make a check to possibly get thrown off and your head bashed in. So there's pluses. But if you want to get more advanced in it, it's going to cost double unless you switch classes or something that has the right skill in it. So, and I'm going to say you learn this not so much from the help of Giggles and Bertrand, but more so just getting back in the saddle and actually taking in all of the teachings of that you were schooled in back in Bretonia, that you finally just get back
made
into
me
practice.
ride the horse all the time when I'd rather
very
sit in the
much so.
parlor.
And that is that. So, that brings us to Marius Wolf, your last endeavor. So you're going to speak with Father Horst.
Mhm.
All right. You come. Do you bring anybody along with you? Or is it just you?
I mean, if Seamus is in town, sometimes Seamus isn't in town, so I don't know. If he is in town, Seamus, I don't know, maybe Braggedy if he's in town, if he's free.
Okay. Braggadin's usually writing his book. He doesn't care about you.
Okay.
I'll say Seamus is probably busy.
Then
He's off hunting Three Fingers at this point.
Probably by myself then. Yeah.
Okay. You approach the garden. You gain entry. You wait till you go during the daytime. You don't go with nighttime hours, anything like that. And you can easily find Father Horst. He's one of just a handful of he's basically the equivalent of the head priest, though he doesn't have a title. And there are a few what we would consider acolytes kind of milling about that kind of help take care of the garden. And he takes you in his quarters and sits down at the table. You wish to speak to me, Marius?
I do, Father Horst. I noticed last time I was here with Seamus a while ago. Father Leek's mausoleum. No one has paid any visit to him.
No, it's actually been quite strange. Shortly after he was interred, no one has paid him a visit. Not a single soul. You're the woman I've seen you with. She once prayed outside, but no one has entered.
I tell you this out of concern and not out of disrespect. I had heard that he had an open funeral, open casket. Many saw his body. Is this correct?
That's true. I was present during his interment.
I went into his mausoleum to pay respects last I came here. I hope I do not offend.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed the crypt was ajar. So I pushed back, see the father, and
You see his eyes kind of widen as you mention defiling a grave.
I know.
Continue.
I know. There was no corpse in there.
What do you mean?
I mean,
He looks very serious.
there is nothing in there. I thought it was the pride of all Knights of Morr to ensure the rest of
And
the
he
faithful.
before you can finish, he's standing up and he's running towards the door. You haven't seen this man move this fast.
Okay.
He throws the
kinda-
door open, and
get up.
he's making a beeline for his grave.
I chase after him.
So you're following, and as he's doing this, like some the other acolytes are kind of looking at him funny, and two of the large Knights of Morr begin with their large halberds stomping in your direction. He makes it to the mausoleum, and you see him, and then he manages to pull it open, and you see him duck inside. What would you like to do, Marius?
I guess follow him in if I'm allowed to.
Yeah, you step inside, and as you do, You see that he has shifted the lid of the kind of sarcophagus coffin kind of thing. The stone lid is ajar, and his mouth is agape. And that's where we're going to end tonight's episode of Rise of the Forsaken.
All right.
Leaker, what happened?
What happened? What happened? Damn it.
He's a vampire.
No!
So we will see what becomes of this. Man, it was a crazy episode. Had a couple little minor technical issues. Again, we're working through it. It was a little better this time.
I think we've addressed those. I think we're not going to see those anymore.
Yeah. I think that we've ironed it out for the most part, so we should be good on that end. But as usual, I am going to throw out a viewer decision for all of you that have stuck around for so long. Because this has been a long episode, but then again, we had a lot to cover. So, viewer decision. I need to be careful in my wording here. We have many of the fellowship off doing individual things. Which, oh man, I can't. Yeah, that's too mean. I can't say that. How about this? How about this? Out of the 3 of the fellowship, who is going to be paid a visit by some, let's call them dangerous fellows?
No.
Your choices. Marius Wolf,
Wow.
Bragadine Benoit, or Seamus McGreedy, the headsman. That will be the viewer decision for next week. Who is going to be paid a visit by some dangerous fellows of my choosing? So yes, that will be the viewer decision. As usual, we should let's pay our respects to everyone, and let's pick out a favorite moment of the session. Start with Mr. Wolf.
Gosh. My favorite moment maybe is, Bragadine's jotting down of all the all of our dirty laundry in this book.
I know it's fantastic.
Putting it out into the world. And,
yeah, we're definitely going to need a name for the book as well. We need some kind of name. It'd be awesome.
I did enjoy it, but I know that you will punish us all accordingly.
No, completely respectful.
In a
absolutely truthful.
In some time or fashion.
It's gonna be great.
Can't wait till some witch hunters show up for something.
I know it's gonna be fantastic. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I won't. It's not gonna be all cool.
How about Seamus? Favorite moments of the night?
My favorite, I'm gonna be selfish here and say it was myself finding my bounty posters.
Mm-hmm.
I am excited about possible career change coming up.
There we go. Yeah. Definitely on the up and up. It wasn't when Marius knocked you the hell out? That was a good moment.
No,
I like that one too.
It was when we clashed weapons, and it was strength versus strength.
It was even.
And then I got downed.
Yeah. How about Monsieur Benoit?
He was just so glad to get out of the foul tunnel, and honestly, it was being healed. I thought I was going to be a cripple for so many sessions.
Well,
but seriously. But yeah, I was quite proud of the book that I just ad-lib on the spot, and He's got his nice new studio now. He's about to have fame. He's about to make sure that
Oh, yes.
Marius and Seamus get some fame, whether they want it or not.
Oh,
So
we'll be
much fame.
famous.
Oh, you'd be famous
so
for it.
famous. The people who look string us up in the middle of the street and burn us.
I hope
It's gonna be
the viewer decisions, a couple, like loan sharks or boogies or someone show up to that studio and just fuck it up.
That's a terrible idea. You're terrible for that.
Oh,
In fact,
that's fantastic.
I've got another.
So-
I'll add another chapter about Seamus for that. About how you like
just
to clean
about
my boots.
Seamus. One in particular. Yes. My favorite moment of the night was probably it was probably going to be when Bragadine met Olga. I loved it. He got taken advantage of very gratuitously.
I did
my
not
mind
know
even.
you were going to take that, but I was going to role play it out.
Oh yeah. That's one reason why we cut it to black, because I knew it was going to go to dark place.
Oh, it
And
was going to go so
very dark place. So many bruises.
We've already established, yes.
Yes. So it was gonna be bad. So we just cut past that.
It'd been months. I mean, any port in the storm at that point. I'm sure.
It's true.
Bragging.
It's true. It's true. I mean, for him, it's only been a couple days, but
That's true,
but
yes.
for the rest of us, it's been like 5-6 months. So yeah. So yeah, I had a good time, guys. It sounded like you guys had a pretty good time, and hopefully, all of those out there enjoyed the show. Do make sure to chime in on the viewer decision for next week. We do look forward to seeing comments. We enjoy all of you guys. All of us do, in fact, read them, not just me. And
We had an
we'd like
amazing
to-
amount of comments, actually. I was just
We did.
too many people to shout out. You guys all
Yeah.
know we were talking back with you. Amazing amount of interaction. It was fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. So we do appreciate it, and thank you guys very much. Unfortunately, that's going to be it for this session, but we will be back next week sometime, hopefully. And hopefully without any issues. We pretty much ironed it out, so we should be good. So as usual, guys, I've been Jumbo Thick. Thank you very much for watching, and we are all looking forward to seeing you in the next episode. Have a good day.